Good morning, students. My name is Tanmay Jadhao, and once again I am here with an interesting lesson, The Little Girl, and it is part 1. So let's start. But before starting the lesson, as usual, I have one thought with you. Push yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. You have to push yourself, okay? Don't be afraid of this world. This world is not going to listen you. So why are you going to listen to this world? Push yourself. Every time you have to push yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. So with this great thought, start this lesson. The little girl. Before you read, do you feel you know your parents better now than when you were much younger? Do you now feel that you know your parents better now when you are much younger? Yes? Perhaps you now understand the reasons for some of their actions that used to upset you earlier. Yes, now you are able to understand the reason for some of their actions. Actions is always equals to beating to child, and this beating of your parents is going to upset you in earlier, but I am sure that you have understood the reason. Okay, now this story about a little girl, Kezia. This little girl name is Kezia, whose feelings for her father change from fear to understanding will probably find an echo in every home. First paragraph. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. To the little girl, his father was a figure to be feared. She was very much feared to her father, and she used to avoid her father. Every morning before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss. And every morning before going to work, his father came in her room, in the little girl room, and he used to give her a casual kiss, to which she responded with goodbye, father. And after taking her father casual kiss, she used to respond to her father by goodbye, father. She said goodbye, father. And oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down long. And oh, there was a glad sense. There was a sense of glad when she heard the noise of the carriage. Carriage meaning is one of the separate parts of a train where people sit. And it was growing fainter and fainter. Fainter and fainter means used about things that you can see. In the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. And when his father came in the evening, that little girl used to sit on the staircase, and she heard his loud voice. She heard his father's loud voice in the hall. Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my paper's out there and bring me my slippers. Means her father used to order the things. He used to tell to her little girl, bring my tea into the drawing room. He used to sit in the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Hasn't the paper come yet today? Mother, go and see if my paper's out there. And she used to tell to his wife, "Go and see if my paper's out there, and bring me my slippers, and bring me my slippers." Kezia, mother would call to her. Kezia, this little girl name is Kezia. What is the name of this little girl? Kezia. Okay. Kezia, mother would call to her. Mother would call to Kezia, "If you are a good child, you can come down and take off father's boots." Then mother would call to Kezia and she would say to her, "If you are a good child, and then you should come down and take off father's boots." Slowly the little girl would slip down the stairs, and slowly the little girl would come down the stairs, and more slowly still across the hall, and she pushed open the drawing room door. She come down and she slowly pushed the drawing room door. Okay. By that time he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. And when she entered in the drawing room, she saw that his father was wearing his spectacles on his eyes, and uh, it was used to terrify her. Means she became very afraid by seeing to his father. "Well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside." Then father ordered to Kezia, "Hurry up, Kezia, and pull off these boots. Take out my shoes and take them outside and keep them outside. Have you been a good girl today? Are you a good girl? Have you been a good girl today? Yes, are you a good girl today?" "I don't know, father." Then little girl would say, "I don't know, father," in an afraid manner. She was very frightened with his father's looks, and she would say in a afraid manner, "I don't know, father." "You don't know? If you shudder like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor." Then father would say, "What? You don't know? If you shudder like that, mother will have to take to you to the doctor." Then father would say that if you shudder like that, she used to tell that, "I don't know. I don't know." She would say like this. So father said to her that, "What, you don't know? If you shudder like that, mother will have to take to you to the doctor." Her father would say to Kezia. She never stut sh- she never stuttered with other people. She never stuttered. Stutter means like that. She never stuttered like with other people. She speak to other people frankly. She used to speak to other people very frankly. Had quite given it up. Had quite given it up means stop doing it. Here it is meaning stop doing it. Had given it up means stop doing it. But only with father, because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. See students, that little girl Kezia always used to afraid of her father. She don't like to she don't like her father. She was always afraid. Sh- and because of her afraidness towards her father, her words were not properly coming out of his mouth. "What's the matter? What are you looking so wretched about? What is the matter?" her father would say to little Kezia. "Why are you looking so wretched about?" Wretched meaning is unhappy. It is given here. Wretched meaning is unhappy. "What's the matter, Kezia? Why are you looking so unhappy today?" "Mother, I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Then her father would say to Kezia that, Mother, I wish that you have taught to your child not to bring of suicide. Means not to bring on the brink of suicide means about to commit suicide. Not to commit the suicide. These things this statement told the father to her mother, Kezia's mother. Here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. Then his father again ordered Kezia to carry his teacup back to the table carefully. He was so big. His father was so big. His hands were so big. His father's hands were so big. His necks were so big. Especially his mouth when he yawned. Especially his mouth when he yawned. Thinking about him alone, whenever little Kezia would think about his father alone, was like thinking about a giant. He thought about like a big giant. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. On Sunday, every day on Sunday afternoon, her grandmother, Kezia's grandmother, would send to her to in the drawing room to have a nice talk with her father as well as with her mother. But the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa. But little girl always found his mother always reading newspaper and father would stretched out on the sofa in a sleeping position, his handkerchief on his face. See, in this picture, his mother is sitting on the sofa and his father is stretched out on the sofa with his handkerchief on his face. His feet on the one of the best cushions, and his feet is on the one of the best cushion. Yes, his feet is on the one of the best cushions. Sleeping soundly and snoring. Sleeping soundly. He used to sound, and snoring means to breathe noisily through your nose and mouth while you are asleep. Or in a easy way, he used to sound loudly. और वो खराटे लेता था. ओके, इन इजी वे वो खराटे लेता था. नेक्स्ट, she sat on a stool, gravely watched him until he woke and stretched and asked the time, then looked at her. She sat on the stool. Her little girl Kezia sat on the stool. Gravely meaning is to stare at her father. He stared at her father, watched him. He stared towards his father until he woke up, until his father woke up and asked the time and then looked at her. Don't stare so, Kezia. Her father said, don't stare at me, Kezia, like this. You look like a little brown owl. And her father said that you look like a little brown owl. One day, when she was kept indoors with a cold, and one day when there was so much cold, means in a winter season, we can say her grandmother, she was kept indoors. Means she was kept inside the house. Her grandmother told her that father's birthday was next week, and her grandmother said to Kezia that her father's birthday is arriving in next week, and suggested that she should make him a pin cushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. And her grandmother suggested to Kezia that she should make a pin cushion out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. Okay. Laboriously means with a lot of effort or difficulty. Laboriously means with a lot of effort or difficulty. The little girl stitched 3 sides, but what to fill it with? But inside that pin cushion, what what she was going to fill? That was the question. The grandmother was put out in the garden, and she wandered into means went into by chance. She wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. On the bed table she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them up, tore them into tiny pieces and stuffed her case, then sewed up the fourth side. And then Kezia found so many pages, so many sheets on table, and then she took all that paper sheets and tore all that paper sheets into pieces and stuff it, means put it in his pillow or in his pin cushion. That night there was a hue and cry in the house. That night there was a very angry protest. Hue and cry means angry protest. Father's great speech for the Port Authority had been lost. And father's great speech, one of the great speech for the Port Authority, had been lost. He was going to tell, or he was going to give a great speech for the Port Authority on next day. And day before yesterday, his great speech for the Port Authority get lost. Rooms were searched. All the rooms were searched. Servants were questioned. Finally, mother came into Kezia's room. And finally, mother came into Kezia's room. Kezia, I suppose you didn't see some papers on table in our room. Mother asked questions. I suppose you didn't see some papers on a table in our room. Oh yes, she said. I tore them up for my surprise. And then Kezia would say, yes, Mama, I tore them up for my surprise. What? Her mother said, what? Screamed mother. Come straight down to the dining room this instant. She told to Kezia to come in the dining room this instant, and she was dragged down to where father was pacing to and fro, hands behind his back, and there her father was there. Well, he said sharply. He said, well, in a sharp manner. Mother explained. He stopped and stared at the child. Then a father stared at a child. Did you do that? He asked to her little girl Kezia. No, 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 she whispered. She whispered. No, she said like this. No. Mother, go up to her room and fetch down the damned thing. See that the child's put to bed this instant. Their mother go up in her room and fetch down the damned thing. See that the child's put to bed this instant. So for today, this much only, students. Part 2 is also there, so watch it carefully. Thank you so much, students, for watching this video. And part 1, the little girl. And if you like this part 1, so please press subscribe button, because I'm going to upload part 2 also. And please like this video if you have understood really, and if possible then subscribe also. But this lesson is to be continued, okay? And have a great day ahead. Bye.